black-red zombies.
Yeah, black-red zombies is was gaining an ascendancy in the last few weeks, but we haven't really seen it do that well this weekend. This is the much more aggressive version of the deck. It has Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, Phyrexian Metamorph, Geralt's Messenger, Blood Artist, Fume Spitter, Grave Crawler, and Diagraph Ghoul as the creatures.
It's a lot like the deck that Smitty made for he originally came out with as part of his design on Star City Games when he posted that article, and everybody laughed. Zombies, that can't possibly be something to be played. And lo and behold, at the largest event for this, Zombies is here and finally on the television, because as we saw, it wasn't in the top 20 decks. So obviously Nick has made a heck of a run here to shoot up the tables here to get to where he needs to be, and in this crucial round. Yeah,
so I mean, in the last few weeks, Zombies has kind of like started to ascend a little bit. This version goes with the Brimstone Volleys over the Flames of the Firebrand that was played last weekend. Bonfire of the Damned, a fantastic card. Generally, against Solar Flare, not so good because they have fewer creatures that lose to it. What he does have is 2 Pillar of Flames, which actually generally don't make the main deck of black-red zombies.
Well, and as you know, Joe's deck has it's the typical Solar Flare build with Blade Splicer and Snapcaster Mage and Restoration Angels. He's got 1 Sun Titan, but he's got the card that really seems to be, I'm going to be happy that's going to be leaving, his Phantasmal Image. That's just a personal standpoint.
Yeah, so usually these Solar Flare decks play more than 1 Sun Titan, but this one only has 1.
Okay, first turn Diagraph Ghoul. We have Dark Slick Shores.
So one of the interesting things that Joe's deck actually has is it has 4 Lingering Souls, which is not that unusual, but what he does have is 2 Intangible Virtue. So he actually, for his Lingering Souls, and I guess his Blade Splicer tokens, he has 2 Crusade effects. Now this is not something you generally see in these kind of control decks. What it does allow him to do is to basically mount a defense without leaving creatures to block, because they have vigilance.
Well, as we can see here, we had Dismember on his first Diagraph Ghoul, came back with Gravecrawler and another Diagraph Ghoul. He played land, Thought Scour, got another land. So, I thought it seemed a little early to play the Dismember, but obviously he knows the threat that Zombies brings and swings in for 4, takes him down to 12. Cavern.
Oh wow,
that's it.
It was a huge, really quick game. Nick basically used up all his mana every turn. Joe really didn't have the hand to defend against that, so we're basically out of game 1, straight into game 2.
All right, what do you think he's going to side in? He's got some options there.
Oh, absolutely. So the cards that are almost definitely coming in are Oblivion Ring, Day of Judgment, probably Celestial Purge, and Sever the Bloodline. Yes. He does have an option of bringing in Mental Misstep. The problem with Mental Misstep is Gravecrawler really isn't the card you want to be Mental Misstepping, and there's not that. And the removal spells like Tragic Slip and Pillar of Flame, which are also in Nick's deck, aren't really things that you need to counter. So,
I'm really liking Sever the Bloodline here, especially if he could get that, if he can get to turn 4 with that and be able to put that out there to wipe out all his army. It's not the worst idea now.
Yeah, and it's really good against Geralt's Messenger. There's 2 other cards actually in Joe's sideboard, Niall's Spellbomb. Those are particularly good against the Gravecrawlers as well as Geralt's Messenger, because it basically allows to kill it while its Undying trigger is on the stack.
And Nick here, he has some interesting cards to play. I mean, it's kind of hard to determine, he didn't really get to see much of his deck, but I mean, he does have some options.
Yeah, I think the likely cards to come in, it's 2 Niall Spellbomb, basically gives them something to fight against the Sun Titans as well as Lingering Souls. Liliana the Veil, very, very good against control decks in general.
Yes.
Probably go for the throat against Sun Titan. Sun in Blood to give himself a little more gas. What he does also have is 2 Zealous Conscripts, which will sometimes allow him to steal a game from Joe, basically if he only lives 1 blocker behind or a really big guy. I think he does have Guess Verdict, I think in the face of Lingering Souls and Blade Splicer, it's not going to be quite good enough. But he may choose to bring him in because he just needs a few more ways of getting rid of the bigger creatures.
No. They are shuffling right here. That was what, under a 5-minute match?
Yeah, I mean, it basically, he scooped on turn 3. He scooped to the Geralt Messenger.
Yes, it's pretty amazing. Shows you how fast that zombies can be. And you know, there've been arguments over, do you play black-blue zombies, black-red zombies? Both of them have seemed to work very well. And like you said before, this seemed to be like the way black-red zombies were originally created with this list, with the Brimstone Volleys and other things like that, that you don't really see anymore in that deck.
Yeah. So the Solar Flare deck, this is much less of a Solar Flare deck than usual because it doesn't have any Wrath effects. There's no Day of Judgment, no Terminus, no Black Sun Zenith. So he actually doesn't have a way of like clearing the way. Usually Blood Artist would be really, really good against those effects. Blood Artist is still good, obviously. It still really combos very well with Gravecrawler, Mortarpod, Falkenrath Aristocrat. But without the sweepers, it basically has to kind of go 1 for 1.
Yeah, it's interesting because everyone who's been running the Solar Flare deck, like you said before, been running at least 3 Day of Judgments in their deck.
Yeah, Day of Judgment's just like still a very powerful card. There's still like Naya Pod, red-green aggro. Zombies, though, to be perfectly honest, it's worse against zombies
yes.
than against most decks because Messenger, Gravecrawler, Blood Artist, like all are good against Day of Judgment. That being said, it's still like sometimes you do need to like give yourself a little bit of time, even if they get to recover. They'll still kind of like, you know, be behind some amount of creatures.
Well, let's get here. They're shuffling up, offering cuts here. About ready to begin Game 2. We are live at the SCG Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Robert Martin, joined in the booth by the Ben Sec, and we are seeing Game 2 of Joe Bernal Solar Flare against Nick Sage's Black-Red Zombies.
I really think these Severs are going to be excellent for Joe. I think that's actually the card that... Oh, and then he's...
Sever, Spellbomb, and a sword.
Yeah, so
he's scooping it.
Yeah, he didn't have any land in that one. Like he had a Terminus. I think I saw a Terminus. Maybe I didn't see a Terminus, but like he definitely had the Sever in his hand. Sever basically gives you game against 2 of the most important threats that Zombies has. Geralt's Messenger, because you can remove from the game. And funnily enough, it's great against Gravecrawler because it actually kills all the creatures in play. So Gravecrawlers often appear in like 2s and 3s and 4s because, you know, you cast your zombie and then you resurrect all the other Gravecrawlers from your graveyard.
But it needs one to be in play for it to happen, so...
It also kills Falkenrath Aristocrat. It doesn't destroy, it exiles. So it's just very, very good against the creature suite of Black-Red Zombies.
Well, this has got to be a tremendous advantage for Nick here to be on the draw with Joe going down to 6. And cannot be helping Joe's cause at all. Let's see if he gets a better hand here to start with to continue on here.
Nick has kept his 7.
Yes.
Just indicating very, very kind of good, at least reasonable hand. Black-Red Zombies definitely preys upon some of the control decks.
Well, as you can see in the background again, Cedric Phillips, who's been all over coverage this weekend from his tremendous play this weekend.
Yeah, no, he's playing red-green aggro, a deck that's doing very well this weekend.
All right.
Okay, Joe is going to keep. He looks like he's. Well, it doesn't look like there's a lot of land in his hand. No, he's always mulliganing. Yeah, it looks like he only had an Isolated Chapel as his land. This is not going so well.
Well, if you're Nick right now, you've got to be inside thrilled with this way, but you know, on the outside, when you play, you really want your opponent to be able to at least typically have to be able to play a good game against you. I mean, winning is winning, but
Yeah.
you know, going down to 5, Solar Flare, which is a deck that does require a lot of mana to do a lot of things.
Yeah, so Nick is actually somewhat of a local. I mean, he's from Georgia. He's from Fayetteville. He does consider Standard his jam. This is the format that he's better at, and it's so important when you're the smaller format basically in these invitationals that you get those crucial wins. And he really has had a little bit of success. He's won a PTQ. He's won a 5K. So he definitely is no stranger to the top tables.
Yeah, and Joe Bernal comes from another Midwest city, Chicago, Illinois. A lot of players come from Chicago, Illinois. I can think of people like Caleb Durward and Craig Wesco, and a lot of the other players that come from that Midwest area. Puts himself down as more of a legacy specialist. Significant tournament purchases, stuffed. So, has been somewhat successful. All right, let's see if he can draw 5 here and go.
If I wanted 5, I think he needs to have Lingering Souls as part of this.
Dark 6 Swords in the Ponder.
Yep. He probably needs to draw the 1 Successful Purge and a Snapcaster probably as well. Like, I'm trying to kind of consider what is the best set of cards that give you the best way of getting out of a mulligan. He does have a Snapcaster as far as I can tell. Oh no, he has it as part of his Ponder. I think he might keep it. Nick looks like he has 2 of his 3 Aristocrats in his hand. Aristocrats, very, very powerful. Just comes, especially because of the haste and its interaction with Blood Artist and Geralf's Messenger.
He's making a decision here whether he wants to keep or he wants to shuffle it in. He's going to keep it. Pass his turn.
Diagraph Ghoul.
Not surprising he kept that up. You're right, he does have the Snapcaster Mage in his hand.
Plays Isolated Chapel tapped.
Okay, swings in for 2. Looks like he has another Swamp there. Sign in Blood potentially. No, another Diagraph Ghoul.
If he does draw a Sever, which I was just about to say, if he draws a Sever, he's like he can actually kill both ghouls if he wants to.
Snapcaster Mage to block and chump 1.
Just trying to buy himself some time.
Go for the throw on. Nice play.
Okay, so looks like Nick is also short on land. Joe really needed that land. He now has 2 Blade Splices in his hand.
Down to 10.
Sign in Blood.
Hoping to draw a land here. Cavern of Souls.
Yeah, Cavern of Souls is going to be good here. Let's see what he might name Vampire actually in his because he actually has Blood Artist and he has Falkenrath Aristocrat.
Okay, another turn, another non-tapped land.
That's crucial. That's pretty unfortunate. I think
he does name Zombie because he's going to play the Growl's Messenger from his hand, hit him for another 2.
This is I can't imagine.
And he's got Blood Art.
Joe just packs it up. Like he just basically didn't ever draw the land. Mulligan to 5. Just couldn't come back from that. Nick's deck was very, very brutal. Doesn't really allow